Welcome back. As we continue to explore what we'll come to see is the nature and structure of humans, it'll be important for us to understand that all things are multi-determined. That it's never just black or white. Even if we're thinking in terms of the color white or the sunlight, there are a spectrum of colors that create that one color, as we call it. So too, with all of our behaviors, there is a multiplicity of motivational factors which yield what we see as behavior. Also, it's important to remember that as humans, our mind, our computer brain, as you will, places things together in groups or clusters. I think the origins of this concept would best be described by the Gestalt psychologists, for those of you who want to do a little research there. They talked about how the mind filled in the missing blanks, filled in the spaces in a concept or in a vision, so that what they were seeing, what we were seeing, made sense. This, of course, is a double-edged sword. In some cases, people have this ability and they intuit and they jump to the conclusion. In other cases, people take this ability and they jump to the conclusion without having the facts. Okay? For example, when I was talking about the repetition compulsion, I'm certain many people thought, aha, this must be the basis for obsessive-compulsive disorder. But it's not. One is a normal neurotic behavior, a structuring and organizational aspect of how we learn to master the world. And the other, the result of repetitive traumas, which I described earlier, creates a disorder, a disordering of the way we conduct our normal affairs. So in moving forward, we're going to want to try and look at all aspects of each and every behavior. When we look at any behavior, when we look at anxiety and depression, for example, we can describe it in terms of a pathology. We can describe it in terms of a poetry. We can describe it in terms of a philosophy. Okay? So that what we call depression, we can also look at in terms of what a philosopher might have referred to as hatred, or what we might, as a psychoanalyst, also refer to in terms of self-loathing. We used to say that depression was anger turned inward. In reality, I think what it is the interpretation and the integration, taking in of self-loathing. We were little, we felt hatred or loathing in our environment, and we attributed that to ourselves. We absorbed it, we swallowed it, we devoured it, and it became something that festers within us. Anxiety, perhaps we could look at in terms of fear. A fear which has no focus, which has no specificity. So it's a free-floating fear. It's a fear that allows us to be uncertain. Again, the philosophers would have talked about this in terms of uncertainty. Ontological uncertainty would have been the term that the existential philosophers talked about. The uncertainty of the essence of being. The fundamental question being, who am I? Where am I? What am I? Most often, as a psychoanalyst, I see anxiety and depression as two sides of the same coin. And from my perspective, the coin is transparent. So both of those sensations are always present simultaneously. Which one takes prevalence depends upon both environmental factors, but often less so. More so, they depend upon internal factors and how an individual is processing their experience of their perception based upon their physical state of being. So when I'm working psychoanalytically, while yes, I'm going to work to solve the immediate problems, my ultimate goal is to strengthen a person's sense of self, their ego sense, strengthen their self-security, and in doing so, lessen both their fear, because they become more secure, and their self-loathing, because they separate out that which is their own belief of themselves from that which they integrated, and in doing so feel more secure, and this results in a reduction of their symptoms. Anxiety and depression are symptoms of a physiological, philosophical state of being. We'll talk more next time. Thanks.